AM chat, and the time is 8:30 a.m. and you're welcome to Amazing Morning Show. I am Romelia Esambedo. It's a wonderful morning to be here, Thursday morning, to be on the show with you as usual. And I'm not alone. As always, I am with my co-host, my chocolate, looking as dark as ever. Anire Benite. Good morning, Anire.
Yes, good morning, Lagos. Good morning, the rest of the world. It was important for Romelia to let you know what the time is, because it is important for every one of us to know what the time is. And if you are on the street, when you are asked the question, do you know what the time is? It is a big question. Today is Politics Thursday on AM Chat, and today we are bringing you a topic that is apt for the moment. Now, let me start by saying this. The constitution of any country is the law, it is the rule, it is the diplomacy on which the country or the government of that country runs. Yes, talking about the Nigerian constitution, we have clauses in the constitution. Those clauses were put there to cater for a class of Nigerians within governance. It is not a landed deal, neither is it a family will that can be changed at will. Do you know where I'm going? All right, so yes, I ask the question, do you know what the time is? You need to stay back on this program for you to be part of what we have to say. It is politics today. There are issues that concerns you and I as Nigerians, and on this program, we shall be throwing the light on governance in Nigeria. My name is Annie Benite. It is indeed wonderful to be with you on the program today. Welcome.
Yes,
Romelia.
welcome. Today promises to be an exciting show.
Definitely. I can't wait for the show to begin.
Wait. Like Anira hinted, the immunity clause is one clause in the Constitution that has created a lot of reactions. Mixed, some are for, some are against it. Now today we're going to be looking at the immunity clause. And of course, there are two incidences that stands out, since the beginning of this week. And we'll look at that, we'll look at the implications, we'll look at who has gone wrong or what has gone wrong, and how can we come out of this whole mix.
Most definitely.
Like most people will say, this quagmire that we seem to have found ourselves in. The immunity clause was meant to be something good. But as it is with the Nigerian factor, something has been...
The Nigerian factor.
Something has gone wrong somewhere.
Underlined. There is always the Nigerian factor when it comes to laws, be it national or international. We just find a way to personalize things.
And then we turn it into...
We turn it upside down. So you need to stay back, because we have lawyers coming on the show to make sure we understand. Now there's something you need to understand, that's something myself and Romelia try to do on this program. We try to carry everybody along. Now we realize the weakness of the society. The majority of those on the street are the ones that make the number. So we'll try as much as possible in a little ways to make sure we carry you along so you can understand what the time is in Nigeria. So
right now we are moving on to another time, and that time is the time for the newspaper review and analysis. We will take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to analyze the front pages of the papers. Our analyst is in the house and he's ready to go. So if you stay with us, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
You're welcome back on the show. It is the newspaper review and analysis segment, and we have our analyst already in the studio who has joined us here And he is Mr. Bobby Uda. He is a social commentator and also a political analyst. I like to call him a comrade. He is a comrade of some sort. You're welcome, Comrade Uda.
Thanks again. Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. Mr. Uda, newspapers, newspapers, newspapers. Nigeria, Nigeria, Nigeria. Like we always like to do with you. What do you think? What are your thoughts about the happenings going on in Nigeria today?
Well, positives and negatives. Positives in the fact that unlike the military era where things were suppressed, in this democratic dispensation we're free to discuss these issues, share our opinions, whether in the opposition or the ruling party. That's a positive. We have a sitting governor who can openly criticize the presidency and get away with it. That's a positive. We need to see that build a more vibrant...
Do you think he's getting away with it?
He wouldn't be continuing with the speeches if
he's not getting away
with it. Something would tell him shut up, but he's getting away with it.
Exactly.
That's why he's going on. The negatives are that despite all of this, the tension is not helping Nigerians to have hope. Rather, we despair with all that we're hearing.
Right. Okay. On my beats, I have The Guardian, I have The Nation newspaper, and the New Telegraph newspaper.
I have The Punch, I have the Nigerian Tribune, I have the Daily Trust newspaper.
All right. I will start these up with The Guardian newspaper, and it leads with Musa Yakasai warned government against political turmoil. With the three riders, PDP senators passed no confidence vote on APC government. The party accuses Buhari of vendetta against Ekiti governor. And Fayose denies benefiting from arms deal scam. The story is on the front page of The Guardian, and it continues on page 6. Unease in police as mass sack of AIGs loom. Unease in police as mass sack of AIGs looms, with the rider new acting IGP to focus on democratic policing. I take that again. New acting IGP to focus on democratic policing. That story is on the front page and continues on page 7. On page 3 of The Guardian newspaper, Saraki sues government, asks court to set aside alleged forgery charges. Saraki sues government, asks courts to set aside alleged forgery charges. And CBN sustains dollar auction, naira rates 282 naira to a dollar. The CBN sustains dollar auction, naira rates 282 naira to a dollar. And from the politics page on The Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's breakup is imminent, says Oyebola. That is not good at all. And then we have the pictorial there of what the story of Lagos State was yesterday, the gridlock.
It was terrible. It actually started from Sunday.
Heavy gridlock on both sides of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Ibadan State yesterday after a fuel tanker tumbled and caught fire. That traffic spread all through. There was no corner in Lagos State that was experienced it yesterday.
I'm telling you.
Anyway, you have the other paper.
Yes, I have The Punch this morning. I'm starting with The Punch, and it says, arms cash. EFCC set to invite Fayose's wife. Probe APC campaign funding. Ekiti governor tells commission. Omishori got 1.3 billion naira from Dasuki for Oshun poll, says agency. We have more of that story on page 3 and 8 of The Punch newspaper. And above the mask, last-minute effort to stop Saraki deputy's trial fails. Buhari running on autocratic government. Buhari running an autocratic government, says PDP senators. More story on page 2 and 7. DSS arrests former Army Chief E.A. Jerika. More story on page 8. And below, SA testifies in private, court bars journalist. We have more of the story on page 7. And on page 8 of The Punch, Ijab, Oshun Khan files stay of execution, leaders meet. Jimo Ibrahim, UBA disagree on 120 billion naira aviation fund. And finally, gridlock as 3 die in Lagos-Ibadan Road tanker fire. You can also see the pictorial on the front page of the Punch newspaper. The story is horrible, I tell you. So these are the 2 stories this morning. So what do you want to start with?
Yes, I want to talk about the warning against the political turmoil. We know what's happening between the executive and the legislature lately. How do you see this playing out? What are the indices that you think might come out of this whole quagmire, as it were, with this head of the Senate and his deputy being, practically, ordered to appear in court, and then with the Senate or the House of Representatives screaming blue murder that the executive are interfering in their affairs? How do you see this playing out?
Well, we have to separate the issues. There's a political issues, there are legal issues. If there is any grounds for forgery, I mean, there was some mist around how Saraki was nominated and elected into office by his peers, the senators. That mist hasn't cleared yet. There's been an allegation of forgery. And I think that is a very serious crime, very serious crime. Now, that's a legal matter that must be allowed to unearth itself. Separate politics from that. Now, there is the political side where PDP, for the first time, is an opposition party. And they've just come out of office, still licking the wounds of defeat, yet to wake up to reality that they are in opposition. And you now have the APC, where whatever step they take, we perceived as vendetta. And so that is how PDP sees it. APC will think that go and defend yourself. Here are accusations. There's the CCT trial, Code of Conduct Tribunal. That's one trial. Forgery here, go and check that out. Issue with Ekiti. EFCC has come up with a public statement, and that's my problem. If these facts are there, put in a charge, put in a trial, don't do a public trial. That never is a legal process. But let's be honest, this is a democracy. Parties are stating what they want to state. We also have to ask, what are citizens saying about this? And that's the primary thing, because the democracy belongs to us. In 3 years' time, we're going to choose the next actors. Either we keep the same guys or we choose another set. Exactly. So we have to be asking the questions, and we have to dominate the discussions.
All right. Sorry, just one moment. You talked about the legal aspect of it, and then you said, what are the citizens saying? I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and he was complaining bitterly about the executive actually interfering in the legal proceedings of the House. And my question to him was, who would have investigated or unearthed the forgery case but for somebody on the outside? So I'm asking you, what do you think? Who is supposed to be in charge of finding out the things that are going wrong in the House without the executive necessarily getting involved?
Well, we have a problem here which we're trying to resolve. Who appoints the Attorney General? We have made recommendation. I think it was part of the 2014 conference, political conference, to say the Attorney General should be separated from the Solicitor General. Right now, the Attorney General is part of the cabinet of the ruling party. And the Attorney General's responsibility is to get the Director of Prosecution's case and say, this is what, after investigation by police, this is what going to trial. And now when he puts that to trial, like the case has been with the forgery, it is now seen as an executive interference. But the truth of the matter, there's only one place to clear your name.
In the court.
In the court.
All right, the next paper this morning is the Nigerian Tribune, and it says inability of 27 states to pay salaries disgraceful, says Buhari. That is on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. But we have riders. It says security agencies after currency racketeers laments billions of dollars wasted on power since 1999. The FAAC shares 305.1 billion naira for May. We have more story on page 2 and 7. Senators suspend screening of ambassadors. summons Foreign Affairs Minister, AGF, PDP senators withdraw support for APC government. Oyo government Labour face-off, I'll take that story again. Oyo government Labour face-off goes to industrial court. More story on page 34 of the Tribune. States have bastardized local government system, says OBJ. I know nothing about alleged forgery, says Saraki. We have more of that story on page 4. Multiple accidents locked down Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. 7 feared kill. OAU short indefinitely as NASU dissolves OAU branch committee. And on page 34, Ijab or Shunkan files stay of execution. EFCC allegation how my election was funded by Fayose. And I have to take this. It says, I wish to state further that if it becomes evidently clear that those who willingly provided money for my election can no longer stand by what they did, maybe because of threat from the EFCC, I will not hesitate to name names. That's your typical Fayose. You have the next one.
I do. I have the Nation newspaper this morning, and I must admit, I have never seen the Nation newspaper be like this. Very brief. And it leads with 4.7 billion naira. Fayose's men hide. The 2 riders